InvestorIdeas.com Podcasts.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of InvestorIdeas.com Podcasts, looking at cannabis news, stocks to watch, as well as insights from thought leaders and experts. Welcome back from our week off from holidays. In today's podcast, we're looking at announcements from last week, as well as earlier today, from BEV Enterprises Incorporated, trading on the CSE as BEV, and the OTCQB as BVNNF. AMRS Incorporated, trading on the NASDAQ as AMRS. KHRN Life Sciences Corporation, trading on the TSXV Venture as KHRN, and the OTCQB as KHRNF. Next Leaf Solutions Limited, trading on the CSE as Oils and the OTCQB as OilFF. And APHA Incorporated, trading on the TSX and the New York Stock Exchange as APHA. Starting with BEV Enterprises, who announced that it's increased the size of its outdoor cannabis cultivation site to 292 acres, up from the originally announced 130-acre site. And BevCanna has partnered with agricultural experts Clearwater CanGrow Limited to grow certified organic sun-grown cannabis on the property near Osoyoos, British Columbia. So this expansion of cultivatable land will allow BevCanna to develop one of the largest outdoor cannabis cultivators in Canada, and the company has in turn increased its anticipated production to 300,000 kilograms to 400,000 kilograms of biomass and a yield of 30,000 kilograms to 40,000 kilograms of pure cannabinoids through the finished extract. Interest in our BC sun-grown cannabis has been exceptionally strong, and we're expanding our cultivation and production capabilities to meet the anticipated demand, said John Campbell, Chief Strategy Officer at BevCanna. This increased capacity will position BevCanna well to become a leader in the production of high-quality, next-generation products in the lead up to Canada's commercialization of such products in 2020. In conjunction with this, BevCanna has also completed a debt settlement with cultivation partner Clearwater CanGrow in the amount of $500,000 in exchange for the issuance of 1 million common shares at a deemed price of 50 cents per share. We're very pleased to further strengthen our relationship with Clearwater CanGrow, said John Campbell, Chief Strategy Officer at BevCanna. Clearwater CanGrow's direct expenditures into our agriculture operation are an incredible sign of confidence and commitment to the operation and to BevCanna as a whole. The shares issued in the debt settlement are subject to resale restrictions imposed by applicable law or regulation. So BevCanna increasing their outdoor cultivation. I've talked about this before, about different companies in Canada really focusing now on outdoor grows, even in the US as well, but it's a little bit more limited. We're starting to see this, especially as these LPs start to focus on how to have lower cost production for a lot of their dried flower, and also there is starting to be an increased demand for the BC sun-grown products, especially as more retail development starts to build out throughout Canada, and especially in BC and Ontario, there is starting to be a demand for locally grown and sourced products from those areas, especially BC. There is a bit of an ego or pride factor of BC bud that's existed for a long time, so that outdoor grow product is somewhat in high demand, and we're probably going to see more LPs start to increase their outdoor production as they, or at least hybrid it out, sort of with a combination of greenhouses and outdoor grows, again, mainly for the low-cost production. And specifically for BevCanna, that low-cost production is going to be going into their obviously beverage products that are coming out within the next couple of months. We're probably not going to again see any of those products really hitting shelves until the summer or probably later into the year. Again, comparing things to what we've seen with dried flower. Next, looking at AMRS Incorporated, a leader in the development and production of sustainable ingredients for the health and wellness, clean beauty, and flavors and fragrances markets, reported that it successfully shipped the first cannabinoid to its partner Levan. So AMRS is also well on its way to the shipment of a second cannabinoid in the first half of 2020. So these ingredients are produced with AMRS's fermentation technology platform, delivering the leading quality of high purity and significantly reduced cost relative to cannabis plant-grown and derived ingredients. The company's technology allows AMRS to scale ingredients that are rare within the cannabis plant and difficult and extremely expensive to extract in quantity. So this is the 10th unique fermentation molecule AMRS has currently in production, and AMRS is a market leader in clean beauty and natural ingredients from fermentation and currently has 22 additional molecules in development with some of the world's leading companies as partners in long-term supply and commercialization agreements to ensure successful market entry. So the company also announced it's agreed on business terms for a partnership with a leading Asian pharmaceutical company to develop and scale a breakthrough target for a rare oncology treatment. In addition to the success on cannabinoids and the new opportunity in oncology, the company has also agreed to significantly expand its current collaboration with its Chinese partner for vitamins. So AMRS plans to provide further details on these agreements at the investor update meeting to be scheduled in February. We're very pleased to end 2019 with a strong operational performance and business momentum, said John Mello, President and CEO of AMRS. We plan to continue building on our position as the leading synthetic biological company and by continuing to deliver the highest purity and the most sustainable sourced ingredients for the health, beauty, and flavor fragrance industries. Our brands are delivering the leading products in their respective categories, and this is helping us deliver an excellent quarter. And we expect to have financing needs behind us early 2020 and a strong year of profitable growth. So AMRS is working on some synthetic cannabinoids as well as fragrances and flavors and vitamins as well as oncology treatments. The main thing for the cannabinoids is they're probably going to be focusing on the lesser known cannabinoids as they discussed there. So that might be your CBG or your CBN or some of the sort of THC offshoots. And really, there is going to start to be a demand for this. Right now, we're only seeing people starting to understand what the potential of these molecules is when it comes to pharmacology and also just general medicine. But moving forward, you're probably going to start to see more of these synthesized cannabinoids come onto the market, especially more into the pharmacological world, and especially for very specific sort of patented products. That'll be what most of these companies are going to be using them for moving forward. Is much like the CBD craze took off, there will be somewhat of an intensity for other minor cannabinoids moving forward, and they will most likely come from the beginning, at least, from a lot of these synthetic sources, as they mentioned there, that a lot of the minor cannabinoids are quite difficult to cultivate and create through non-artificial means. So AMRS is not the only company focusing on this, but definitely one of the leaders in this space. Moving forward, you might see again more synthetic cannabinoids come onto the market. As for what their use will be and where we'll see the demand for that, that's still sort of undetermined, and we'll see in the next coming years probably. Next, looking at KHRN Life Sciences, who welcomed the Colombian government's announcement that the country has been awarded a record high quota of 21.84% of worldwide high THC for commercial and scientific purposes. So the quota, which is awarded by the International Narcotics Control Board, an independent body for the implementation of the United Nations Drug Convention, affirms Colombia's role as one of the most important supply sources for the licensed global cannabis economy. So Juan Diego Alvarez, KHRN Vice President in Regulatory Affairs, stated, as the only company with an authorized high THC quota for cultivation in 2019 to meet the needs of the patients in Colombia, we welcome the INCB announcement and congratulate the government of Colombia on the achievement. In 2020, quota guarantees access to new medical products that can transform patients' lives. KHRN Life Sciences is currently the only cannabis company in Colombia with an allocation of quota to manufacture psychoactive medical cannabis for commercial domestic purposes, and one of the few companies also authorized to meet export demand. And as announced previously, the authorization is a result of commercial quotas allocated to KHRN by the Colombian Technical Quotas Group, or the TQG, which permit the company to cultivate and commercialize up to 560 kilograms, or approximately 65,000 units, of psychoactive high THC cannabis in 2019. And as of April 2019, KHRN has applied for additional commercial quotas for high THC cannabis for 2020. And the TQG decisions on commercial quotas for the year are anticipated to be announced in early February. So KHRN Life Sciences, I've talked about before, but one of the main leaders in the Colombian market, and now allowed a sort of higher THC quota of 21.84%, a worldwide high for commercial and scientific export. So Colombia was already set up to be a really sort of important market for the global cannabis industry, and now is being recognized more so by the International Narcotics Control Board, which is a really important step sort of for the social impact. Obviously, Colombia has been the most impacted by the drug wars over the last sort of 60 years, and now are starting to actually be recognized and reap some of the benefits in the global cannabis industry. KHRN, obviously the leader in that area, set up to sort of benefit from that system. And it'll be important to pay attention in February to see how those quotas change and how that might affect, again, KHRN's sort of export as well as Colombian sales moving forward. They are definitely, again, the leader in that space, and Colombia really is set up to be, like I said, a very important player in the global cannabis sort of community, as again, they have really great growing conditions for multiple harvests and a really low cost of production, which is, again, becoming more and more important when we're looking at the global industry as opposed to just local industries. Looking next at Nextleaf Solutions, who announced that the Canadian Intellectual Property Office has granted the company a patent for its proprietary filtration stack used in the post-extraction processing of THC and CBD oils. And Nextleaf has been issued a total of 11 patents by 4 international patent offices in key markets in Canada, the United States and America, Australia, and Colombia. Given the abundant supply of lower-grade dried cannabis, we believe processors that establish a competitive advantage by utilizing superior technology to transform otherwise unsellable biomass into high-quality THC and CBD oils at a lower cost than competitors will generate better margins and build a sustainable long-term business, said Paul Peterson, CEO of Nextleaf Solutions. As we close out 2019, I'm extremely proud of our R&D team for obtaining its 11th patent, protecting what we believe to be our most efficient method for producing distilled THC and CBD oil at scale with a regulated environment, continued Peterson. So Nextleaf Solutions, we've actually interviewed them before with Investor Ideas, and they talked about it basically exactly this, of the ability to turn low-grade dry cannabis into high-purity THC and CBD oils. And really, especially looking at the Canadian market, as there is a massive amount of biomass that is basically almost unusable or unsellable, at least to the regulated recreational market, because again, it was either old or very dried out, or is just low grade now. That is all now starting to go into the extract market. And again, with the anticipation of all these products coming out within the next coming months onto the Canadian market, it's sort of timing wise working out for everyone quite well, especially if you're a company like a Nextleaf Solutions or any of these extractors who do have the proper technology to turn this low grade dried cannabis into high quality CBD or THC oil. And again, even though when we look at sort of an established market, dried cannabis sales or flower still makes up such a significant percentage of the sort of total sales. Extracts, oils, and the edibles are starting to make sort of headway. Even in California and Nevada, they're starting to take up larger and larger segments. Again, dried flower and pre-rolls are still taking up the majority of the market. But this could change in the coming months. And again, there is still this anticipation that there's going to be more customers coming to the market once these products are available. Again, this are all the consumers who are unable to or just against the idea of smoking the cannabis products. They might come on board if there's an edible or easy oil product out there. But again, that's still not been proven to be entirely accurate. Again, when we look at established markets like California or Colorado or Nevada, they're still showing that that's still a smaller percentage, but it's at least good that there's some usability out of all this somewhat useless product. And again, the companies like Nextleaf Solutions are really poised to take advantage of that. And also it's interesting that they do have all of these different patents. Moving forward, that might be a huge advantage. We've talked about sort of intellectual property a bunch of times and patents within the cannabis space and how there is a lot of difficulty with regards to that. But the companies that are at least getting these patents might have the advantage moving forward. We'll sort of see. Lastly, looking at APHA Incorporated, who is going to release their financial results for its second quarter and 6 months ended November 30th on January 14th before market open. So they will host a conference call, which has the information included in the article, as well as there'll be simultaneously live webcasts available at APHAinc.com. And if you want to hear our last interview with APHA CMO, you can click the link attached in the article where they did discuss some of the things that will be sort of coming up in their financial results, or at least the expectations of where they're going to be at as a company. And actually, she gave a lot of really great information about sort of how APHA has developed over the last couple of years and really where they're going to be going moving forward. That's all for today's podcast. Enjoy the rest of your week. That's all for today's podcast. Podcast is now a certified word trademark on the blockchain through Cognate Incorporated CM certification. InvestorIdeas.com podcasts are also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and TuneIn. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor of this podcast, please contact InvestorIdeas.com. Investor Ideas reminds all listeners to read our disclaimers and disclosures on the InvestorIdeas.com website, and this podcast is not an endorsement to buy products or services or securities. Investors are reminded that all investments involve risk and possible loss of investment. Investor Ideas does not condone the use of cannabis except where permissible by law. Our site does not possess, distribute, or sell cannabis products.